particularly very happy that SRM has this liberal School of Liberal Arts, and I am doubly happy because this is this discipline which requires urgent attention in the context where you find face-to-face conversation is actually disappearing in the pressure of Facebook. So I think these disciplines actually bring students and teachers face-to-face. That's one important reason as to why we should really have a School of Liberal Arts. The other most important reason could be that your disciplines deal with the well-being of the human beings. Human beings are central to the whole question of learning and researching. So human warming up to human heart is so crucially important. And in the flow of modernist flow of technology and perhaps science, you actually disrupt that flow. So warming up to the heart is one important function of liberal arts, and the other important function is to also cultivate not simply scholarship but also scholarship with emotions, because we think while emotions are the realm of feeling, and reason is the realm of mind, a cognitive mind. Most of the time what happens, reasons goes on its own journey without really taking due care of emotions. I think if you really want to cultivate intelligent emotions into a human being, you need to have music, iconography, films as the disciplines that can really sustain this very valuable emotional resource in you, and it makes you a very virtuous human being.
Are the humanities in crisis? That is, I think, the first question. I think they're in the process of reinventing themselves, and I think to that end, they have invented and reinvented themselves as needs arise. So I don't think in that sense it's a new thing. I think the humanities are just going to reinvent themselves. But let me see if I can give you an example. We are in a world now in which, for instance, students get a great deal of their knowledge from YouTube, Facebook, or from the internet. I think in order to take that on board, faculty have to change some of the ways in which they teach. They have to change some of what they used to take on as objects of inquiry, change that. Let me give you just an example. For instance, in another 20, 30 years, there will be a historian who will need to make his or her way through all of Donald Trump's tweets, for instance, yes, to come up with some kind of historical explanation for his rise to power, for the ways in which he still manages to capture a significant portion of America's imagination. The data that these scholars will use is now on the net. It's now Facebook and YouTube and his tweets and so on. So we have to sort of come up with new ways of doing historical research, thinking about the archive differently, thinking about data sets differently, using, for instance, the techniques of big data analysis. Historians are typically used to dealing with big data sets. Our data sets are simply going to change, and we will then figure out new ways and new protocols and new, shall I say, scholarly methods of sifting through this material. So the humanities, in that sense, are in crisis, perhaps, but also in a period of transition.
Two things. Be as adventurous as you can in trying to find your teaching material, because the strength of ready-made textbooks and ready-made conversations is there, and somehow we need to, in the interest of making for a more participatory classroom, you have to open up even the category of the liberal. There are many ways of being liberal, and we just can't. Of course, the constitutional understanding of being liberal is one, is an important one. But if that is the only arbiter of what you choose to do in the classroom, it may be limiting in your quest to open up the category of And there are other ways of being civil, other ways of being, we're in Andhra Pradesh, we should listen to Chiranjeevi's songs, see what he has to say on how to be civil. I mean, there are all different models of being civil. Speaking of songs, I also think we tend to be overtly text-centered in teaching, and the sound is such an important part. I mean, the world of folklore is nothing but images and sound going together. So some sense of how to make for a multidimensional sensory experience, giving space for it, not just as an exotic something, but as a very serious way in which knowledge is acquired and transmitted. Folk epics are sung over 15 days, 15 nights, and if they're sung at night, they take a different form altogether to keep awake the people listening to them. So all of these are important. So I think some care or attention towards these other aspects of learning, listening,